Okay. Looks like we're live. All righty. Very nice. So, this is a 2-hour live stream. 3 times a week, I have a live stream. If you're new, I chat the first hour and I nap the second hour. Jim Main is here. Jesse's here. Eric is here. Bren is here. JF Baird. Hello, hello. Yeah. I didn't get much sleep last night, and I didn't take my caffeine before starting the live stream. So we'll see how it goes. Mike Tufts is here. Mac Bales. Tommy Taylor. Hey, hey. Everybody's rolling in. Yeah, so I'll just chat the first hour and answer questions. I try to answer questions if I can. Yeah. Try to keep everyone informed of what's going on. The live streams are so you can see me in person, because on most of my videos, I'm just showing you how I see the napping. The napping is not front view. It's, first person view in most of my videos. So still, even after thousands of videos, people still don't know what I look like, and they haven't been able to talk to me in live time. Ferdo Joe is here. Alan Cole is here. Eric says, will you be at the Nap-In in Brady? Yes. If everything goes right, I will be at the Nap-In in Brady this year in the fall, in October. Yeah. Bill Taylor, hello, hello. Let me see. Did I get any packages? I think I got some packages. No, maybe one from one of you guys. Yeah, but I think I did all the unboxings already. Yeah. John Turner is here. So we got 14, 15, 16 people so far. It's not 8 o'clock yet. Yeah. Let's see. So what will I be napping? Well, I just knocked out a couple of preforms of Knife River Flint, so I might be napping those. But what I was planning on doing is chunks of Georgetown. Getting these chunks down to preforms. Everyone wants to, not everybody, but most people want to see how do you turn junk into stuff that can become like a hunting point or whatever. Yeah. I do have a piece of coral also, heat treat, 400 degrees from the Million Souls mine in Florida. Jared is here. Hey, hey. Ken, Prairie Ghost Ken. Toasty in Texas, 102 degrees today. I am so glad I am no longer in Texas, because today was 83 tops. Yeah, the sun peaked out for a little while, but then it got shy, which is good. It got overcast. The only thing that is weird here compared to Texas is that we have smoke from Canadian wildfires. It blows in, and it looks like there's a heavy haze. If you look over the hills, they look all hazed out, but it's smoke from Canadian wildfires. That's a weird thing. And you can smell the smoke a little bit, but it doesn't smell like campfire smoke. It just smells bad. So I don't know. It's probably because it's like softwoods, not hardwoods, that are burning. Anyways, as far as the weather goes, it has not been really, really hot lately. I am so glad. And it's 50s and 60s at night. Like in the morning at 6 a.m. or 5 a.m., I can walk outside and it's, 60 degrees. So it's nice. Yeah. It doesn't get hot until maybe 11 a.m. So from sun up to about 11 a.m., it's nice and cool every day. Let's see. Bill Taylor, John Turner, I already read. I've seen your entrances already. The chat's not moving at all. That's okay. So let's see. There's no big news. I already did a channel news, so I'm all newsed out. I don't know what else to talk about. I will be napping some obsidian outdoors. Yeah, I'm going to get an area set up. Yeah, just tell the kids not to go back there if they come over. My step niece and nephew, don't go back there. You mean over here? Yeah, don't go there. You never know. Feet seem to attract obsidian flakes. I don't know what it is. Human feet attract obsidian flakes. Yeah. Jared says, I'm not looking forward to Oregon's wildfires this year. So many already. Yeah. Keith Callahan is here. Keith's here. Hello, Patrick and Nappers. Hello, hello. The weather is about the same here in West Virginia, 10 to 15 degrees cooler above 2,500 feet. Yeah, I'm not sure what the elevation is here. It's not very high. Maybe it's 700 feet at the most. I don't remember. But it's cool because we're north. Yeah. We're far enough north that even the animals are different. Yeah. Jim Main says I added a new nap in on the community page. It's in Missouri. Yeah, I wrote that down. I wrote down the information from the flyer, and I'm going to put it in the updated nap in list soon. Last time I updated it was July 19th. If anyone has a question on that one, I can show it. Or even if you don't have a question, I can still show it. Where is it? Yeah, the one in Missouri, right? That's one you were saying? Missouri. Yeah, it's the Niangua River nap-in. I hope I pronounced that right. Niangua. 13 river front. I forgot the T on the riverfront. Let's see. I don't have my pen in 5 seconds. I think it's Riverfront Trail, Riverfront Campground, Lebanon, Missouri, 65536. 816-420-7876 is the contact number, September 5 through 7. Okay? All right. That's the one that was posted. Yeah, Jim Main posted that one. Yeah. Excellent. I'm glad those get posted in the community posting section, whatever you call it. This is another one? Oh, okay. There's another Missouri one? Let's see. PGK, the microwave kiln is genius. Yeah, I still got to use mine. Mine's still in storage. So if you need to get information on the nap-ins, who does not know how to get to the community, the Jack Crafty community? Let me know, because there's some good stuff being posted. You're missing out. Well, the only one I see is this. Come on, it's not working. I'm telling people to go to the community, and it's not. Nothing happens when I touch the screen. All right, did it work that time? 4 minutes ago. Yeah, that's the one. That's the Niangua River, right? Or is it not working right? Yeah, same one. I posted the card. I posted the card up on the screen just now. John Turner, I post a video with your results. Dang, send button, irrigation below space button. It's the one you just showed. Okay. All right. Have you seen Bone Oki's content? He's made some really cool uranium points. No, I just saw like a short or maybe a section of a video where it's glow in the dark stuff. You need a black light, right, to see that glow in the dark. It doesn't glow normally. Jesse says, I made a joke. If we put broken uranium glass shards in microwave kiln, will it start the chain reaction? I don't recommend trying to find out, but you can do it. I think you're far enough away from me that I'm out of the radiation zone. So go ahead, dude. Care package for Mike Tufts was posted by Alan. What else did I miss? I missed this one by Jeremy. Snap the knife. Yeah. Gee, that never happens. Jeremy, yes. He's been posted 2 times, and now Jesse is posting one. Anyone ever napped the grainy rimrock draw stuff? Grainy rimrock draw. Is that obsidian, Jesse? Nail biter, but got it done. Awesome. It looks weird. Yeah. Yeah, you got it done for sure. It does look weird. Aurora Borealis obsidian slabs. Okay, good stuff. I've seen the other ones already. All right. I just hadn't looked at it in the past couple days. Let's see. Jesse says that something canyon fire in Arizona is one of the worst fires ever. I just saw a notice for a canyon fire somewhere else. I don't remember where it was. Keith Callahan, Patrick, I don't know how to get on that community website. Do I need to be on Facebook? No, it's a YouTube community. YouTube. You go to my channel. You go to Jack Crafty channel, and then it says visit community. And if you're on your phone, you should see the visit community. You hit that button. Make sure I'm trying to hit it without messing it up. The community comes up, but you hit the newest button, the button that says newest, so you get them all in order, and you can see the latest ones first. Right? Good. See, but you got to go to my channel because it doesn't show up unless you go to the channel page, the main channel page, not to one of my videos. It's got to be the main channel page. Right. I had a hard time at first going, what? Where is it? And some people show up after the live stream's over thinking that it's still going on. Even when I sign off and there's no longer a live thing going on. Like you can see, it'll have this little red live thing on the video right in the corner, and that won't be on, and people are going, hey, I'm here, when it's already over. And what's funny is also after the live stream is over, I'll sit and wait a little bit, a few minutes after when it's supposed to be over, and people will show up going, I'm here. Styley Designs is here. John is here. Keith says, okay, thanks, Pat. All right, you're welcome. See, I think I'm supposed to call Keith Keefers, but I forget because there's more to one Keith. Jesse says, Mike T. Yep. Kaboom. I don't know. But I don't recommend experimenting with glass in the microwave, of all things. Yeah. Yeah. Next time I do an outdoor video, I'm going to wait so I can get in the shade. I got to wait till like after 6 p.m. so that shade can, the shade can block the sun. I don't want to move that table that I got set up back there to the other spot that I used to have it in because I had to keep moving it around when we mow the lawn. And the less I move that table, the better. It's got a glass top on it. That's my excuse. Yeah. That and everyone can hear me right there in the old spot. But if I go further back in the yard, there's at least a little bit of distance. Yeah. I'm sure they can still hear me, but it's a little bit less irritating for me. At least I know I'm a little bit further away. Jim Cooper says, Patrick, I was sorting more rock today and found another batch of amoeba flakes, but about a quarter bucket worth. Oh, dang. That'd be awesome. Yeah, Michael Bonnet is here. UMB, I made it. UMB. Uncle Minuteman Bob. What is UMB? Let's see. So, yeah, if you have questions, ask in the first hour because I'll be napping in the second hour and I won't be looking at the chat. So you can ask anything you want. It's Friday night. It's supposed to be, beer 30, so to speak. Eat your sandwiches and stuff and kick back, put the recliner in the reclined position and sit there with the remote because, it's Friday. I don't have a recliner, and I'm not going to get one because my dad had a recliner, and he sat in that for 10 years straight. I'm not going to do it. Jay Valente is here. What came first, the chicken or the egg? Jay, you're first. Yeah. Uncle Mike Bob. Michael, but that's funny. Let's see. Hey, Sal's in the house. He says, okay, I'm here. Cool. Jim Cooper's. Also, I wanted to ask, is there a particular shade of red jasper you want? I found some, and it's a mix of brighter red and more muted reds. No, as long as it's red, like this or any kind of red. Yeah. It can be like a brownish red or a gray, washed out type of red. I don't like pink. On the pink or purple side, but red or brown or washed out red is good. Everyone's saying hi. Yeah, everyone's saying hi to everybody. Yeah, I should have had my caffeine before I started the live stream, but no, it just makes me blurt out the wrong stuff faster. Jim Cooper says, "Okay, I'll set that aside for you." Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I've got some red jasper, but it's little teeny flakes and little teeny pieces. I need to make some arrowheads that are 2 inches. Yeah. Luckily, I don't have any big projects except for maybe 2. I have 2 projects that require big pieces. That's it. Yeah, the rest of the stuff is small, which is good. I'll be able to knock those out fairly easily. If I don't break them. If I try to knock them out too fast, then I'll end up breaking a bunch. Ken says, I'm pounding coffee right now. Oh, dang. Yeah, Jim says, I do spoil you. Yes, I'm spoiled. Ed Minister's here. Hello, hello. Good to see everybody. Yeah. So what do we talk about? We've just been saying hello. Hey, how's it going? What's going on, man? Hi. Anything interesting in other than the radioactive glass? Keith Callahan's going to ask a question. I don't see it. Yeah, I'm working on all kinds of stuff on the side right now, but I don't want to say. I did break out a bunch of arrow shafts from storage, and I'm looking through all of my stuff, and I'm realizing that I didn't pre-straighten a bunch of arrow shafts like I normally do. I don't know what I did. I just bundled them up and stuck them in storage, and I'm going, dang, they're not that easy to straighten after they're dry, but I guess I'm going to have to do it. Aaron Wilson is here. Hello, hello. Yeah, don't hit the wrong buttons, man. Jim Cooper says, I've already turned all the knife river I got into flakes and preforms, so that made me kind of sad. Oh, dang, that was fast. No, I take my time on the knife river. I'm going to do one on video soon coming up. That's that almost clear stuff. Soak them and straighten them. Yeah, I've done the soak and straighten, but after they dry out from the second soaking or second moisturizing, they crack. My experience is a lot of the shafts will crack. So I don't do it anymore. I just use dry heat when they're dry. Heat gun or open fire. Ralph Snyder's here. Hello. Alan Cole says, I'm rolling cigars. Patrick took the last of my stash. No, but honestly, I'll have to make 30 for my 30-year high school reunion in a couple weeks. Oh, dang. No one's going to recognize me if I go to my next reunion. Probably not. I guess it's going to be like a 50-year reunion or something. Something goofy. Yeah, not everyone's going to be alive for that one. Red-Eyed Patriots here. The granddaughter is here, so I'll be in and out. Remember to smash the like button. Yeah, 34 people and 17 likes. I know we got more index fingers than that. Jim Cooper says, they are all really nice preforms. I just can't help myself when I have nice percussion rock. I see. Yeah, I know people like that. Yeah, I used to do that at Knappings, but when I'm home, I don't like to preform everything. I don't like to biface everything. I don't know why, but I'll do that at a Knapping. I'll get all my stuff and I'll start bifacing a lot of stuff together. I'll get my stuff together on my little, what do you call this? Painter's cloth. Put it down and then start bifacing. Michael Bonnet. Grandpa's name was Bob. All the grandkids have middle name Robert. We'll call them Bobs. I came along, they started calling me Uncle Mike Bob. Oh, there you go. I wasn't that far away. Ralph, you don't swim to Canada? You didn't swim to Canada, did you? Who? Ralph, what are you up to? Aaron is napping some elebates right now, but a lot of Crackiola pudding. Yikes. Administrator says, I got my second napping video up. It's more bunny than napping, but the material I worked was weird. Ralph says, hello, Alan, everybody. John says, the best rock source for beginners? ? The bestest for beginners. Napping. You should know by now. The best rock source for beginners is a Knapping. That way you can go, can you help me pick something out? Because I'm a beginner and I don't know what's good. And maybe I can try some free flakes first. Yeah. And then I'll know that if I want that or not. It looks good, but let me try some free flakes of that, even little ones. You can't do that on online shopping. The best source of everything, number one, you should know this by now, is a Knapping. How do I get good advice on Knappings? Where do I buy rocks? Knappings. Where do I get tools? Knappings. The second next is all very subjective, Depends on people's opinions. And you might get some good stuff, you might not. Even reputable sellers of rocks will have a hard time sometimes with new people to try to describe what they have. Because if you're new, you don't know what it is. And the seller can take advantage of the fact you don't know anything. He'll just go, yeah, I recommend this. Maybe because he's got a ton of it that needs to move out the door, which is good for beginners, but it's not great. Let's just say, as an example. You can't blame the seller for trying to move something out the door that is taking up space. Now, there are good sellers in the chat. And if someone in the chat wants to sell rock, just let everybody know. Danny Collins sometimes comes in to the chat. Flintknappingtraditions.com. He's got rock available in most cases. I don't remember any time where he didn't have any rock on his website. On Facebook, you can look around, and they've got actually Flintknapping supplies groups and Flintknapping rocks groups. You can join a group and start asking around. The beginner is the hardest one to equip because he doesn't know what's good and what isn't. And if he gets something bad, it's no one's fault. If he gets something really bad, he gets a bad impression in his mind and says, okay, well, this is Knapping. Whereas if you're experienced and you get something bad, you just go, oh, that's pretty typical. Yeah. Next. AA Ron is here. Howdy nappers and snappers alike. I'm in the latter group. Let's see. Ralph has been giving white-tailed deer, what is it? Ivory implants? John says, I've only bought from online closed Knapping. The closest Knapping for me is Flint Ridge. I've only bought from online. Well, let us know where you bought, and if you had a bad experience, let us know. Jay says, definitely go to Flint Ridge, John. Yeah. Yeah, if it's the closest for you and it's not too bad as far as travel time, definitely go. Now, if you want stone in 1 week from now, you probably can't go to a Knapping and get stone that quickly. You have to wait until the next year or whatever. Sometimes the best place is, places like this, like in the chat section. There are guys that sell rock in the chat right here. And you can trade for rocks too. Ralph says, Jim, I haven't swam to Canada, but we do go tubing down the American side of the St. Clair River. We put in at Port Huron and float 25 miles down to. You float 25 miles? Holy moly. That's a long float. Mac Bale says, we'll get you a 25, 30-pound box of Coshocton in the mail tomorrow for Monday. Sweet. That is awesome. Talking to me, I hope. Administrator says experienced nappers are worse. They will use anything as a tool. Red-Eyed Patriot says Coshocton naps really well. I hope so. Ross says, I tried filming my napping today. Man, it's harder than you make it look. I've been doing it a while. Yeah, Ed Minister has a channel. Tubing down the river. I've been tubing down rivers in Texas, but it's like 2 miles, not 25 miles. Let's see. John says, that sounds good, thanks. Okay, cool. All righty, so we're talking about rocks and stuff. That's good. Jesse says, when they were tearing down the campsite at the Arizona Nap-In, I was grabbing all the free waste flakes before it went into the garbage. That's the way to do it. Administrator says, it's harder to film than it looks. I'm having audio problems with my new video, but it seems to look okay. Yeah, there's always some kind of glitch. I've had many problems with audio over the years. Yeah. Let's see. When I was new, I napped a lot of bull gravel. And then life changed when I found heat treating. Yeah. No one told me. I looked on YouTube and I'm going, what? What is heat treating? And then I asked some guys. I was in a forum and they said, oh, yeah, just follow the recipes over on Puget Sound Nappers or, different websites. Puget Sound Nappers, Puget, Puget Sound, Sound, Nappers, has a big old recipe list of what temperatures to heat rock. I used that list and I blew up a lot of rocks. It was too hot. A lot of those temperatures are too hot for the stone that I was trying to cook. And I didn't have a temperature gauge drilled, or I didn't drill a hole for the temperature gauge to install a temperature gauge into the turkey roaster. So my temperatures were even hotter than the really hot recommendations. So I blew up a lot of stone and it got all messed up. My first attempts were terrible. And then I learned to lower the temperature really low and it came out okay, but I still hadn't had the temperature gauge installed. It wasn't until I installed a temperature gauge, the kind that you stick into barbecue grills, that I was able to heat treat properly. And I started at low temperature and experiment with some of the flakes. I don't put the whole batch in. Just so you know. I have videos on the whole process. Yeah, anyone that wants their link to their website or their YouTube channel, just speak up and we can put it in the chat. Ralph says, Patrick, I posted a short about white-tailed deer with a rare ancient trait where they grow small tusks. I never heard of that. Jesse says, thanks, Ed, new subscriber. Administrator says, that's a very old heat treating list. It's about 150 degrees off, it seems. Yeah. They heat it really hot, apparently. Those Puget Sound nappers. But yeah, it needs to be an experimental process because even if the temperatures are correct on the list, yours might cook at a different temperature, even though it's the same rock from the same area. So just keep that in mind. Even 50 degrees difference or sometimes even 25 degrees difference Fahrenheit can make all the difference whether it gets ruined or it's good. Jeremy, $5 super chat. Thank you. No comment attached. Thank you. Yeah. Before I start napping, I usually ask for at least one super chat. There you go. Got one already. I didn't even have to ask. Thomas Thompson's Pat, tell us how whetstone won't treat well. What does that mean? Are you meaning novaculite whetstone? I don't know. John Almerger's here. What percentage of artifact points are 6-1 or better? I've seen a ton, but most are thick and chunky. It kind of depends on the time period and the style of point. I don't know. Taking a rough guess as to how many of the points are 6-1 or better, I would say 30%, or one out of 3. That's just a guess, though. A lot of them are thicker than that. A lot of them are 4-1. But it depends, because near the tip, a lot of them are really thin, but near the base, they're thick. And Martindale is one of those that has a thick base, but the rest of the blade tapers down pretty thin. So it varies, and it also varies by area and time period. Depending on the tradition of the nappers, it doesn't mean bad workmanship if it's thick, though. Okay, just keep that in mind. Sometimes it means bad workmanship when it's thick, but I've seen bad workmanship with thin points too. And what is bad workmanship? You know, curves, lots of step fractures, unsharpened edges. Yeah. And if it's made from a flake or not, yeah, that's true. If a point is made from a flake, like a lot of true arrow points in the late prehistoric, they're made on really thin flakes, and they're pretty thin. They're better than 6-1. Jim Cooper says, I know the author of that list, and I personally put a lot of faith in his abilities. He is a professional geologist and napper who specializes in rare materials. Yep. But on the Texas stuff that he's got on the list, it's a little bit too hot. Administrator says, I make my videos by streaming on Twitch, where I also do DJ streams. So I will often be talking to chatters as I'm napping live on Twitch. Interesting. Administrator says, I have 2 videos of bad workmanship. Well, dang it. Ellen, I'll be sending your box on Monday. Thomas Thompson, dig only dry rock. Heat only dry rock is what I was saying. Okay. I missed that. River rock. Let's see here. Oh, whetstone. Instead of a whetstone like to sharpen knives, which is novaculite, he meant waterlogged stone. No, you dry that out first. Yeah, it'll heat treat, but you got to dry it out first. And it even if it's not totally dry, in many cases it'll still heat treat during the first ramping up. It'll steam out whatever's left inside. There's not that much inside the stone after you've left it out in a dry area for a month or 2. There's not much water left in the stone, but there's some, and it will evaporate out during the heat treatment. But it's best to make sure it's very dry. Yeah. Not bone dry, because for some reason I think having a little bit of moisture in the rock, a minute amount of moisture in the rock, actually helps to facilitate the heat treating process. I don't know how exactly, but with some stone, it does chemically matter when you have a slight bit of moisture in the stone. Administrator says I might be suffering from terrible material as well as being out of practice. Well, there you go. You can just blame it on that. You can heat rock from the river, says Jim Main. You just have to heat at 200 or just under for hours until you dry it out. Yeah, as a safe measure for drying out, I always heat the rock at 200 degrees for 24 hours, no matter where it's from. Even if I know I've had it sitting in a dry spot inside for 6 months, I still do the 24 hours at 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, let's see. Ferdo Joe says he's headed home. Easy on the gummies, Ralph. Aaron Wilson says, as I recall, you haven't used much wild rose for your arrow shafts. I'm going to collect some, and if you like, I will send some your way. Yeah, send me an email. Right now, I'm not able to utilize it. I mean, I could keep it in storage. Yeah, that'd be okay. Yeah, just send me an email. Yeah, all the rose that I get around here is crap. I can't find anything that's strong for arrows here as far as rose goes. Ross Wellman says, any suggestions about starting my own YouTube channel? I've been thinking about it. Yeah, just don't use AI. There's a lot of haters of AI out there that I had no idea were lurking out there. I have no idea why that is. They say they can spot it so easily, then what are they worried about? Ken says, start uploading videos. Oh, yeah, advice to, let's see. I'm missing some chat here. Okay. Graylin, hi from Southwest Louisiana. Okay, Ross, yeah, start uploading videos and following other napping creators. The more nappers you follow, the algorithm will start suggesting your channel. I see. If you're not already following a bunch of nappers, follow the nappers. I mean, I never noticed a difference that way. Ken says, I just passed 800 subs the other day. Awesome. Let's see here. Administrator says, ideally, I want to nap on Twitch while playing music at the same time. Might not work, but I'm trying. How can you nap and play music? Or as a DJ, I guess that would work. As long as you're not playing an instrument. I will always blame myself before the stone, unless it's painfully obvious there was a stone issue. Yeah. Just blame the stone, dude. Yeah. If it makes you feel better, you'll nap better. Jesse says, I'm enjoying my not for YouTube tonight. What does that mean? Ken says, my page is mostly music, but I've gained a lot of followers with my new napping videos. Well, sweet. Just do it, Ross. Yeah, just start doing it. Just like napping. Some people, they delay the napping. I don't know if I should try it. I don't know. I mean, I got glass and I got the tools. I bought a set. I don't know. I don't know if I should do it. Now, the only time I would say that you maybe shouldn't take up napping is if the only place you can nap is near your house and you have kids. Yeah, I had to make sure that that I was in that boat where I only had a certain couple of areas where I could nap because I've got 6 children, and they all, except maybe 2 of them, sometimes they like to go around barefoot. It's ridiculous. When I was a kid, always had shoes on from the time I can remember. From 5 years old until now. Yeah, shoes. I don't go around barefoot. Crazy. Not even in my own yard when I'm the one cleaning it up. I found all kinds of stuff in my yard. And I would have found them with my foot instead of my eyes. and I had a little magnet, not a little, I had a big magnet, but I would pick up little things with my magnet in the yard that I didn't know was in the yard, little springs. What were they doing with springs? Repairing mattresses or box springs or something. Anyway, I found nails, springs, screws, and then I would find glass here and there the hard way. I was digging into one of my areas in my yard, and I mistakenly and foolishly started using my hands to move the dirt, and I got all cut up. And I'm looking, I don't see no glass, and sure enough, there's a little beer bottle glass mixed in with the dirt. If I would have walked around barefoot, I would have found that glass with my feet instead of my fingers. I knew it. I knew I would. Anyways. Let's see. I guess, let's see. Administrator says because people with 11 fingers per hand is creepy. Are you talking about AI? Yeah, but they don't have trouble with little characters with only three fingers on their hands. No cartoons with 3 fingers. Why is 11 fingers creepy when 3 fingers is not? Jay says, I got a ton of something for my AI thumbnails. Oh, a ton of crapiola for my AI thumbnails. Yeah, for some reason, there's a huge amount of hatred for AI. Aaron Wilson, the wild rose here in Nevada is excellent for shafts and was the primary wood used by the Paiute tribe. Okay, cool. Yeah. Awesome. And people who play video games are dealing with AI all the time. All their characters are AI with video games. What happened to those guys? None of the Flintknappers play video games. None of the guys that watch Flintknapping videos and these survival videos and build your own shelter videos. None of them play video games. I think half of them do. So half don't care and half of them hate the AI stuff. Ken says, I don't know how to use AI and I'm glad. I don't know. I'm already feeling left behind because there's some AI that is extremely good. And I don't see how they're doing it because I don't have access to that and I'm paying a good chunk of change every month. I don't have access to the tools that they have. I've got a limited amount or a limited range of what I can animate. And I'm seeing other AI guys generate dragons with fire coming out of their mouths and stuff. And it's like, what? The only thing I can do is still poses with little mouth movements, basically. Let's see. Oh, I missed some of the chat. Let's see here. Let's see. I missed a bunch of the chat. That's not good. Okay. Mike says, I figured out why I don't like AI. Number one, it's not natural. I like natural things. Same as I do not like plastic surgery on a woman. Yeah, AI is plastic surgery for the eyes. I don't know. I was thinking about that the other day, and what would I rather see? Something I know that's AI and I know it's fake, or a real woman who is fake, like just acting for the camera. So if it's a real woman or a real person, how do you know that they're like that in real life, or are they just acting for the camera? In many cases, they're just acting for the camera, so that's fake to me. That creeps me out when I know later that person is not who I thought that person was, and it's a real person. But if it's an AI, you know it's fake from the beginning. It's in your face. I'm the opposite. I get more creeped out by people who are fake than by AI. And there's filters now too, so that if you're on social media, you can edit your videos and put a filter on it, and you look younger or older or more mature or whatever. You know, a 16-year-old could probably put a filter on the video and look older. That kind of thing. But it's a real person. Anyways. Oh, I'm working on I'm working on my lights. I got lights set up now that are different than before, but I'm gonna have to modify this light tree. I've got some filters or some diffusers on it, but I'm gonna have to get some other types. Yeah. All right, let's see. Ralph says, Ross, I use a tripod with a camera holder to film videos. I'd like to get an overhead camera mount for napping and unboxing videos. Yeah. I just use a simple tripod for my videos. But the lighting is, I'm going to have to invest some money in lighting and sound. I'm going to be doing videos with better sound in the future. That's one thing I don't know if I mentioned it. But yeah, I kind of mentioned it in brief in the channel news. I'm going to buy some sound equipment. I just don't know which sound equipment yet. And it's going to be so I don't have to deal with this kind of stuff. It's going to be mounted to the camera itself. Mike Mason says, Sal, Ken, if you can make a request, you can use AI. What does that mean? Brenda says, I liked your heat treating coverage vids and would enjoy an update from you. All right. I haven't done any heat treating in forever, and I keep putting it off because it does require some time invested in trying to get that set up and do the video correctly. It's all repetitious now. I'm just going to rehash what I said before. There's no updates. There's no like new and improved heat treating. It's new and improved heat treating days. There's no new and improvements. Let's see. Red-Eyed Patriot, I second that. Just had to sweep and vacuum up a big old mess. Let's see. Yeah, big old mess of glass, right? Or no? Jay says, I think I saw Ferdo Joe napping barefoot. Another barefoot napper? Sal says, later, y'all. Okay. And I'm behind on the chat. So he might have already left. Administrator says, I have a wild bunny and a lot of baby lizards that show up on my napping streams. Sarah named the bunny Cinnamon Bun Bun. Mike says, I know what goat heads are. I don't barefoot the yard. Can anyone tell what part of Texas I come from? No, I don't know what any of that means. Sam Folks, no quitting. Let's see. Ed Gould says, this morning, a lady with a huge, I don't know, got on the elevator with me, arms loaded down with bags, and she said, could you push up on 2? And I did. She didn't like me after that. I don't know what that means. The minister says, goat heads are cool looking, but they suck if you find one while running. They will tear you up before you can slow down. Yeah, what are goat heads? What does that mean? New day. I've never flint napped. I worked for an archaeologist doing archaeology surveys for 12 years, Pacific Northwest. Oh, dang. You've been teased by all these artifacts and you never tried napping? Let's see. Administrator says I have a great and inexpensive sound inside where I DJ stream. It's just not out in the yard where I nap. I see. Bren says I figured the heat treat was something you would get going again either way. If anything else, it would be a video for people to like. Yeah. I'm going to do another one, but it's just going to rehash everything. And I'll probably end up forgetting something, and I'm going to have to say, well, I didn't include everything in the video. I might have to do part 2. Because people will go, wait, you said this. Did you miss a step here on purpose or by accident? Because I thought you said in a different video that it was blah, blah, blah. Stuff like that. And they'll email me. And I got to spend time correcting my new update. Yeah, that's the way it goes. Mike Mason says, on X, I asked Grok to make it look like one of the work trucks was stranded in floodwater. I only asked it to. That was AI. What does that mean? You posted something about work trucks stranded in floodwater? And that was not a real photo? Every time I ask Grok to do AI stuff, it doesn't do it. It doesn't obey the prompts. The prompts are better on YouTube. When you do posts, you can create images. And then you can post the images to the post. Or you can, add text to the images if you download the image and then add text in whatever app you have and then re-upload it. That's what I do. I just generate an image on YouTube. The AI on YouTube is actually better than Grok's AI. It listens to you a little bit better. Grok's AI used to be better. Now they keep dumbing this stuff down. Patrick Truesdale or Trousdale, I'm getting better with obsidian slabs. Good to hear. Let's see here. All right. Where am I? Let's see here. Everyone says hi. Okay. Patrick Trousdale, no more failure rate. It seems and getting much thinner. Awesome. Ralph says, okay, waiting on packages. Administrator says, goat heads are a seed pod with 2 big spikes that look like horns that catch your legs. Never seen that. Good to know. I'll probably forget, but that's interesting. Ed Gould says, I napped my first point in 25 years yesterday. It went well. Awesome. I thought you had already been napping. Brandon says, another video for us to smash a like button. Yeah. I can post more videos. It's so repetitious. If I have it in my mind, I'm gonna make a video tonight. I start dragging myself around the house going, oh, another same old. But I do have videos to do that I am going to be doing. But if I've already done something very similar, I'm not motivated to do it. That's a lot of times. That's why I change tools and stuff too, because you get burned out on a certain set of tools, or I do anyway, and then get to decrease the monotony, you switch tools. And also it helps learn different things, like the fact that you can make the same flake with different tools. Some nappers say, no, tools have a certain way about them so you can tell what flakes were made with what tools. Yeah, if you've only used the same set of tools your whole life, what type of tools have you used? Same set of tools the whole life. What do you base your information on? They base it on whatever they can regurgitate. Yeah. I heard it from this guy, so I said it again. Yeah, I know. Let's see. Patrick says, I've been napping just over a month, thanks to Patrick, and I'm now doing it very, very thankful of your vids. Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad after a month, you're able to do something. Yeah. That's very fast progress. Ed Gould says, I got a East Lake out of some flakes I got from Jeff Head. Yeah, Jeff Head's one of those good rock sellers. I don't think he's ever been in the chat, but if you need contacts, just let me know in an email. Let's see. New Day says, in this neck of the woods, Aboriginals sometimes used Canothus arrowwood, aka ocean spray. Okay, I've heard of that. I've seen ocean spray shafts. Yes, yes. I think someone might have sent me a batch too, but it was all crooked, if I'm thinking straight. Lee Steinmeier says, see you later. I didn't see the hello, but yeah, see you later. Patrick says, I bought 3 pounds of untreated Georgetown nodules to try my skill at spalling. There you go. Let's see. Brent says, I can understand that, Patrick. You have mentioned a lot of burnout symptoms just trying to get more crafty content. Yeah. It's not hard for me to make the videos. It's just hard for me to get motivated to go out there and do it. It's the journey to the video, not the video itself. I can do the video itself. It's just the journey over there to do it. Because I'm thinking, again, I got to think of something else, some other angle in order for me to get interested in doing it. Mm-hmm. Peter asks, is there a way to still do indirect percussion when you have a broken knee? Yeah, you can use a strap. You can strap the indirect percussion stuff to the top of your leg. It can sit on top of your leg with a strap. Just look up Jack Crafty Kelly strap. Kelly, Kelley. I think he spells the name that way. Or you could just try Kelly with just Kelley. I'm not sure which way he spelled his name. But I named it after a friend of mine who was using a strap one day because he couldn't hold it under his knee. I think in his case, it was muscle atrophy. He hardly had any muscle. That's what happens when you get really old. Let's see. I keep missing the chat here. It's going way too fast sometimes. But yeah, Peter Cohen, if you could just type in Jack Crafty Kelly strap, you can find another way to hold the indirect percussion flaker. Let's see here. Patrick says, you said there was a community section you could post pictures, but I can't find it. I looked for it on Facebook to show. It's not on Facebook. The community the tab is on YouTube. You go to my channel, like you say, Jack Crafty Flintknapping. You go to the channel itself, and it says here, visit community. Visit community. It's that long button. It's a big old button. And then you can see what I like. Yeah. What do they got here? Anyway, if you go to I didn't push the right button. But if you go to the community, it looks like this. And then you hit newest, and they'll put it in order for you, and you can see the latest posts. But it's on YouTube. It's not on Facebook. I don't use Facebook. I just I look on Facebook for napping supplies, but that's it. I don't use it for anything else. But people send me messages through Messenger, and sometimes they'll post on my timeline or whatever. But I hardly ever check Facebook. Okay, hopefully you got that. It's on communities in YouTube. Peter says, I'm afraid that would jar my leg around and hurt the broken bones. Anyway, I know wounded knee is Native American related, but in my case, it's motorcycle related. Patrick says, thank you. Okay. Cool. I hope you can find the community because it allows you to post all kinds of stuff. Mike Mason said, did the conversation call you to play a game with an AI? What does that mean? Buckskin. Hey, Marty's here. He made it. Hello, Patrick and Nappers. Yeah. Marty is Buckskin NYB. Mike says, nah, Ralph, goat heads are a great childhood lesson about being tough as woodpecker lips. Yeah, I never heard of those goat heads. Okay, I'm going to start napping here in a couple minutes. Okay, so I won't be looking at the chat. I'm going to get ready for the napping. And I'll be napping some Georgetown. Yes, some Georgetown chunks. And let's see how that goes. If I get bored with that, I'll just switch over to something else. I got some Knife River Flint preforms. People like these. The Knife River Flint stuff, they like it. I don't know. I mean, I like it. It feels good. But napping it gets crunchy and steppy. And it's not like buttery stuff. It's hard. Some people heat treat it. It's good material. Don't get me wrong. It is one of those high grade raw flints, but it's not easy. And it's not luxurious. Like somebody, I don't want to make fun of you, but I just think it's funny. This rock is not, for me, it's not, it has nothing to do with luxury. Okay, let's see. I got some stuff in the way here. Let me adjust. Hopefully you'll be able to see at least a little bit. I got a light right in front of me so that when I move, it's not going to blur. That's why you see that light in front of me. I can't see very well, but it allows you to see. Okay, and I'll fix the lighting eventually when I figure out how to set up a better system. Okay, right now I'm just making doo-doo with what I got. And I got some cool little decorations, but I think those are probably going away soon too, when I get a better backdrop. Okay, so Georgetown. This is from a quarry. Stuff that you think, oh, I wish I had quarry stone because there's so much of it. There's billions of tons of it. No, you don't want this stuff. It gets damaged by the machinery. You don't want quarry stone. You want stone that you get anywhere except a quarry. Okay? The best stone is from caves, believe it or not. You go in the cave and sometimes this falls out of the ceiling or falls out of the wall. And the cave doesn't need to be very deep. It's just enough to prevent freeze-thaw cycles from ruining it. Or you dig it out of the ground. But normally people don't dig this out of the ground to wait to see if they can find this stuff in construction sites where the construction equipment has dug it out. Buckskin NYB, $4.99 super chat. got some more rocks from Danny Collins today. Another blessing from your live streams. Thanks, Patrick. Oh, you're very welcome. I'm glad you got some rocks from Danny. All right, so I'll be ignoring the chat while I'm doing the napping. Okay? Nothing personal. People have been waiting. When's it going to start napping? It's already 1 minute past. Dang it. Chatting for a whole minute. Can't stand it. Yeah, well, probably have to wait a little bit longer. Trying to get the camera angle set up. Where's my glasses? There. Yeah. That way I don't blind myself. This is a little 6-ounce bopper, but it's not the typical bopper. I use it like this rather than swinging it. I use it like that. Does it make a difference? Yeah. What difference does it make exactly? I don't know what difference exactly. It just feels a little more comfortable. So Georgetown is one of those rocks that will flake easily. Now, it's glossy and it looks beautiful, but it can snap in half. It can be snap in half-ish, as I like to say. It can also have cracks in it. So it may not be this easy for you to get a biface. So far, so good. I was able to hit the cortex and still be able to flake a bunch of the stuff. And it does respond very well to being struck. You don't have to strike it a bunch of times to get used to it, you know. It is responsive. Okay. There's a lot of cortex on this, especially on this side. This is chalk. So Georgetown flint is actual flint because it's chalk. It forms within chalk. If it forms within chalk, it's a flint. That's how you know. Yeah, it was a rounded edge there. That's why I wasn't able to catch the edge. Let's see if I can catch the edge this time. It was slipping. Every time I hit it, it was skinny. It was slippery. So I didn't remove a flake until I started crushing it. That's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to allow me to go, yeah, that's a good flake. Yeah. And then I can possibly make something out of this. All right, so I can't do that very often, but once in a while I'll get a good arrowhead spall off of something like this. Now I got to take the cortex off because I don't think I'll be able to get any more big flakes. So I'm going to concentrate on making a biface now instead of concentrating on trying to get big flakes. I got some flakes here I can make arrowheads out of. They'll be challenging. Like the triangular piece, that's challenging, and it might be all cracked up on this side. I can make an arrowhead out of this, but this is all cortex. Like almost half of it is cortex. So it's only going to be a small arrowhead. And I can make an arrowhead of that last piece, although it's not going to be very long. Because of the curve, and this little piece can be made into an arrowhead, but they're going to be tiny. A lot of guys don't even pay attention to those flakes. I call them crud flakes if they're just way too small. Crud, C-R-U-D. Crud flakes. And the chalk cortex comes off fairly easily. Yeah. There are some cortexes that are tough. They don't, you know, They don't break off like chalk just breaks easily. Just chalk, you can write it on a chalkboard with it. Yeah, it's very crumbly. Makes it easier. Now what do I do? What do I do? I got most of the cortex off. So it's time to go to indirect percussion already. Yeah, it's too small. I need to be accurate when hitting this. It's like under 3 inches. So I need to be a little more accurate when hitting it. Well, it's right at 3 1/8, something like that. At the longest. So it's pretty small. When it gets small like this, and if I'm hitting on it with a billet or something, I'm not very accurate. I've tried, believe me, because it's much faster to reduce these with a billet or direct percussion with a hammerstone or something. But I will trade it for going a little bit slower if the end result is a little bit better. It's a trade-off, yes. I can remove big flakes with the indirect percussion if I hit really hard. But I also run the risk of snapping it, overshooting it, just like a billet. The advantage of the indirect percussion is accuracy, and I can get flakes like that. Whereas if I was trying to hit that with a billet, it might not hit exactly where I wanted it. Why do I, or how do I know exactly where I want to hit it? After thousands and thousands of hits, that's how I know. That's all I can tell you. I don't know. Sometimes I don't know how I know until I say to myself, oh yeah, it's because I've hit this stone like this thousands of times. That's how I know. You mean I gotta hit the stone thousands of times? Yeah. If you have not made 100 points yet, you got to get a move on. At least recognizable. Make 100 recognizable points, and then ask me questions. Well, if I could make like 5, I wouldn't have to ask nobody no questions. There you go. Proceed to make 5 as fast as you can, so you don't have to bug us. No, but yeah, 100. I'm serious. 100 points. If you have questions after making 100 points, those questions are going to probably be easier to answer. Believe it or not. Because when you're brand new, some questions require prerequisites. Like you have to have prerequisite knowledge in order to understand what we're talking about. Patrick Trousdale, $10 just because. Thank you, thank you. I see it. It's bright yellow. Thank you, thank you. That's awesome. So, what am I talking about? It's a super chat. $10 super chat. Very generous. Thank you. So, I don't know. You can see what I'm doing, right? I'm hitting it pretty hard, too. You can see how hard I'm hitting. I'm just taking opportunistic flakes. There's no set formula. It's just I do the worst first. It's just a motto. It's not really a recipe. The motto is do the worst first. But make sure you thin the ends. Make sure you're conscious about thinning the ends. I've seen guys work real fat on the ends and then thin out the middle first. And then they end up snapping it and they go, I don't know why it snapped. I'm not supposed to. If the ends are too heavy, you'll snap it in the middle. because it just makes sense. You get too much on the ends. Sometimes I leave the base really thick. It depends on the point style. You can sometimes leave one end really thick. It does work, but it's best to thin both ends. But you can leave one end really thick. It does kind of work. You just have to be a little bit more experienced. Because when you start to thin it later on, instead of in the beginning, there are certain problems that you run into that a new guy will not be able to understand fully. And it'll mess it up. There'll be like an island in the middle of a thick spot. He might say to himself, I thought I could thin it down, but I ended up with an island and all kinds of stupid stuff. Yeah, so just be aware. Let's see. Be aware that the motto is do the worst first, but thin the ends also. Be cognizant about thinning the ends also. Yeah, this is a little bit thicker than I normally would be knapping with indirect percussion, but it's going well. It's Georgetown, so I'm able to actually get it to respond and cooperate in many cases. Not every flake works, even on good stuff like this. And not all Georgetown is good. I just want to let you know. Some Georgetown is very difficult to nap. But it looks nice. But it doesn't nap the same as this stuff. This stuff is actually high grade. Except for the cortex and these little areas where the edges are soft. So I try to hit into that soft area and I stepped it. That's the only problem with this, it looks like. Just those soft areas where the edge crushes. But yeah, I can run a good flake on this stuff. Now, when it starts getting thin, you never know. It could get real finicky. See, I could run a long flake. This one broke in the middle, but it's always good to be able to run long flakes because it thins it if you want something thin. Now, if you don't care about thinness, then you don't care about long flakes. Your life is much easier that way anyway. But people, no. They got to have thinness, which is fine. But it requires a lot more effort on your part. A lot. I mean, there's a bunch of difference between a thick point and a thin point in terms of relative difficulty. Yes. As it gets thinner, it exponentially gets harder to not break it and not make mistakes. The range, if you want to talk about angles, that range of that angle starts to get really tight. You don't have any maneuver room when it gets thin. You know what I'm saying? That flake has to go through that really thin cross section. So your range where, if you hit so the flake exits too fast, it's not good. If you hit where it goes in too much and causes a step or a scoop, that's not good. It's got to be almost perfectly aligned for your particular stone and tool to run across the face. And you got to have a good face on it and not something all wonky if you want to increase your chances of success. Nothing is guaranteed and it's all probabilistic. But you can increase your chances of success. Yeah. That's the whole deal in Flintknapping. It's probabilistic, but you can increase your chances of success with practice. Mm-hmm. Should I knap the other piece? Not yet. Let me get this more thin first. Not like that. Yeah, like that. Okay, I need to upbraid this more. I'm still taking off big flakes, even though it's getting thinner. So the edge is getting thinner as well, which means I had to upbraid more. I'm hitting just as hard as before, sometimes harder. So the edge crushes easier as it gets thinner. So I gotta upbraid more. Abrading more doesn't solve all the issues, though. There's a trade-off, because if you abrade too much, you can end up ripping some of the side apart, or ripping some of the side off with what I call a bite type of mistake. If you take a bite out of the edge, too much removed from the edge, I call that a bite. There are other names. Well, it's called a ring crack. I'm not sure if there's other names other than that. I just call it a bite. So I'm thinning with flakes that are going past the center. They don't have to go all the way across, as long as they go to the center or a little bit past. But you got to have convexity. You can't be running flakes that are long if it's too wavy or if it's too flat. It's got to have some convexity to make it easier for you. You can run flakes across wavy and flat surfaces, but you've got to choose your path a little bit more carefully. And sometimes it doesn't work. Yeah. Even if you're really careful and persnickety. So let me trim off the weak areas. And when I use indirect percussion, some of the stuff I'm doing can be done with pressure instead of the indirect percussion. But this is a lot less fatiguing on the hands. If I were to try to do some of this with pressure, it would hurt. And that's what I mean by a bite. See, it's getting already too thin to hit as hard as I'm hitting. So what does that mean? It means that's thin enough. Yeah. Some of you guys might say, no. It's not thin enough until it's a potato chip. Yeah. That's what I saw on YouTube. Yeah. Just work toward it slowly. I recommend working toward it slowly. Yeah, but I thought that slowly was supposed to be bad. Maybe I should say deliberately and carefully. Yeah. I'm a spaz, so I went at it like a crazy man for a couple of years. I didn't do well. I made a bunch of gravel because I was impatient. Yeah. And I wasn't in the best mental state either. I was depressed. I wanted something to help me not be depressed anymore. So I took up a hobby. Why Flintknapping? I don't know. It just worked out that way. Could have been many other hobbies. Just ended up with Flintknapping. Could have been woodworking or something like that. Looking back, I probably would have been better off if I had done woodworking. Anyways, I have allergies, so there's that. The woodworking affected my allergies. There's always something that makes you miserable. All right, just a few more hits, right? Famous last words. Yeah, very hard hit. Got to make sure the edges are good for very hard hits, or you break it, or step fracture it, or something. And the range of maneuverability is very, very tight. There's almost an imperceptible amount of maneuverability when it gets thin. Yeah, when it gets thin and you try to do stuff like that, it takes many, many years to get to that point, at least for me. It took at least 10 years for me to do that without a step fracture with that thinness. So, I mean, some guys try to teach new guys how to do that right away. And sometimes the new guys can do that right away. Many times it's luck. It's not an advancement in level. It's luck. So don't get too excited because then you'll start messing it up. Just know that's, it's at least, the potential. I think that's it. I think I'm not going to thin this anymore. Not on video anyway. I'm trying to just get the thick spots removed from the edge. Yeah. Don't worry. If you don't know what that means, don't worry about it. I see lumps, I gotta get rid of lumps. I see fat spots, I gotta get rid of the fat spots. Make it more regular. What I call regularizing. And regularizing the edge and is hand in hand with regularizing the surface too. Although I step fractured it just then. That's not part of regularizing when you cause step fractures. It's supposed to be smooth, smooth, relatively smooth, without step fractures. On this side, I got one. When you get step fractures late in the game, it's difficult to remove them. Okay, so that came out of the first block of Georgetown. It was 3 and something, 3 1/8. Now it is 2 3/4. So I didn't lose that much. Okay, so it's good. This is a good lateral dart point size. But of course, you can mount it to an arrow if you're a nutcase. All right, so next block. Let's see what I can do before I have to go back to the chat and catch up with it. This one's more difficult because I don't know what I'm going to do. Yeah, I don't know. Just whittle it down. That's the story of my life. Just whittle little by little. Just pick an area that looks okay. And just start removing what's not supposed to be there. Now, I don't know which direction this arrowhead or this biface is going to be going. I don't know if it's going this way. I don't know if it's going to go this way. I don't know which way this. I gotta wait because it might be, I might not be able to capture the full length. I might only be able to capture this side. It depends on how it breaks. You know what I mean? This might have some kind of weird internal issue. I'm going to try to capture the longest part so I can make the, maximize the length. Yeah, I guess this in this direction. Across this way, but it's tricky. I'm just going to thin it right now, knock off some spalls to thin it, and then I'll see where I'm at. That doesn't knock off a spall. Let's see. That's a little bit closer, but it took off way too much. Anyways, I just end up hitting these stones a lot to see what goes on, and I can get an idea of how solid it is. It's not that solid on this side, so I'm going to remove that. Okay, that's not good. If you hit and nothing happens, it's not good because it causes what I call incipience. You install cracks in there, they're going to come back to bite you later. So yeah, it's good to get some results every time you hit. It can't always. Just be aware that if you're hitting it a lot, you are putting in some cracks that might rear their ugly heads later when you don't expect it and cause a breakage. It's all kind of getting all mashed up, and there may have been a better way to do this. I don't care at this stage. I'm just looking for opportunities. I'm not setting anything up in any special way. I'm just doing a direct attack on that. It's not working. Anyways, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I should be more careful if I'm trying to maximize it. Yeah, I know. So I got rid of a lot of that nastiness. Still got a ways to go before it gets thin, but it looks better. Just taking opportunistic strikes. Oh, that's too much. But it's not too bad. Too thin, but it's not too bad. I'm probably not going to keep that. The biface is probably going to be in that direction right there. Probably. You never know. Depends on how it breaks. Everything is rolling the dice. There's a lot of rolling the dice in Flintknapping, so to speak. You don't know where it's going to land. You don't know what numbers it's going to land on. I mean, you can get used to throwing the dice in a certain way and influencing it. In Flintknapping, you're influencing, you're directing the flakes and you're trying to influence where to go. But you don't know for sure. You get a pretty good idea after many years. I wish I could say that I can control this stuff. All I can do is just increase my odds. Try to increase my odds. See, I don't know. It's not supposed to do that. I'm going to switch over to indirect percussion to get a little more accuracy. What's the length of this? It's a little bit over 3. And the biface, to compare it to the other one, I might not be able to get the same size. But I can get kind of close. My early videos were trying to maximize this kind of stuff. With indirect percussion, you can maximize it. With direct percussion, you're going to lose quite a bit of it, especially around the edges. But with indirect percussion and its accuracy, you can maximize it. I stressed that in my early videos. No one picked up on it right away anyway. They never looked at indirect percussion as a maximization technique. They looked at it as a thinning technique. So I said, okay, that's fine. I won't beat that dead horse too much because no one's paying attention to that anyway. But indirect percussion allows you to maximize it. Yeah, it allows you to thin it too, but the secondary. It doesn't have to be thin. Unless it makes you throw up. If it's not, then okay, fine. Okay. Some people can't stand it. It's got to be thin or it's sickening. Yeah. Oops, I hit my microphone. Time to readjust when that happens. Okay, let's see. Let's try not to hit that again. Sometimes it turns off when I do that. So I am just opportunistically removing flakes where I think it makes a good difference. It has a good effect on what needs to go. What needs to go? This needs to go. That needs to go. A lot of this material needs to go. So little at a time. Whittle little by little. It's kind of like whittling, yes. Kind of, sort of. You don't know if it's going to break, so it's not as reliable as whittling wood, that's for sure. Yeah, so when I exhaust the possibilities, I've already hit the strong areas. I got to go back and do another pass of braiding to get rid of all the new weak areas and hit the ones that are strong again. And it's a lot of trial and error on difficult pieces. This one's not that difficult, but it's like hit and see. Hit, is it good? Do I need to change my approach? Every single hit is like, okay, how does it look? How does it look? It's changing. The situation changes, and what you think is going to work might not. So if you have a certain order of flake removal in mind, it may not be working out for you. You might think, dang it, every time I try to plan it, it doesn't work. Welcome to Flintknapping. Yeah, you try to plan a sequence of flake removals, and all it needs is one that doesn't work right to mess up your sequence. And now you're lost because you must work in sequences. Some people like to work in sequences. And when they get lost, they get all vertical, like, oh, I can't stand it. I'm dizzy. I think I'm going to pass out. I don't know. That's the way it seems to me anyway. I don't get all upset if it's not in sequence. I just change the sequence. Easy peasy. Yeah. It's easy for a spaz to change, of course. Mm-hmm. Dang it, this should have taken a flake. Tooken? It should have taken. Should have taken. Whatever. Let me see. Yeah, I gotta hit this thing hard. This one is harder than the last one. The stone itself is harder. It's not as flakeable. See that? I'm ending up with a nice little stack turtleback. Because it's somehow that spot is hard. I can't even hit the. Sometimes I can hit the face of the step fracture and remove the material, but this stuff, for some reason, there, it managed to knock it down just by hitting the front of the step fractures. You might say, well, you didn't grind it enough on the sides, so you didn't have enough power. You might be right. Who knows? Maybe if I had ground it more and hit it like I did, I would have made a mistake and overshot or taken a bite out. You don't know. Yeah, but overshots are cool. Yeah. I wonder if there's still people that are that new. Yeah, I think so. That never goes away. Yeah, I don't know. Can't get rid of it. Stupidity. It doesn't go away. It's a lingering problem. The overshots are a cool thing. It's a lingering problem. Let's see. So I got one side pretty flat, which is good. That is a strategy. I just can't seem to thin this one side. See that? Every time I try to hit that area with a good flake, it stops right there. Yes. Yeah, that wasn't too bad. That wasn't too bad. I knew you could do it. Let's see. If I hit it really, really hard from this direction, maybe it'll do it. Almost. It just went right up to it. Didn't go all the way over it. See that? It's not behaving, in other words. It's still persisting. I'm attacking it from all sides, and it persists like a fortress. I'm thinking it's a tough spot, but it could be just the way it's. When stacks tend to keep stacking, but it feels like a hard spot. Yeah. All right, is that going to work? That's not going to work. I was thinking of doing another flake. We can do this. Hit the face of that step. That worked a little bit. I have to make it more narrow here so I can attack it from this side. Lower the edge. Get closer to the obstacle. And lowering it and then reducing the width. Get closer to that lump. I'm already going to lose. See, they're very similar. This is the new one. I may be able to make them very close in size. I couldn't do it if I was using only percussion to match this size. They're very close. Okay. I can do it with indirect percussion. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to get very close. They're almost the same. As long as I preserve the width by being very accurate, I might be able to get two of the same. Okay. So let's see if I don't have to take too much width off to get that turtle back out. It'll be good. All right. Let's see. Did it do it? It kind of did. It went over the top of it, finally. It still didn't clean it out. It still got remnants of a bunch of step fractures, but I might be able to smooth that out. Yeah. Just work around in different areas and then creep up on it slowly. Or not. I could take a big flake and do it. Did it do it? I think it did it. It did it. Yeah. It did it. I just directly attacked it again, and it took it out. So now it's just a matter of doing this stuff that's not so hard now. Yeah. That was the hardest part. I should be able to come up with two very similar sized pieces. Okay. I'm going to stop there because I'm going to get back into the chat. But you get what I mean. The hard part on this second one is already done. Okay. As you can see, there's no major step fracturing anywhere. There's no major issues with the edges. I mean, they're all wonky, but it's good that they're wonky because it gives you opportunities for flakes. And it's very similar in size. And if this gets smaller, I can just trim this down. And Flintknappers don't discuss this very much, but back in the day, these were made in sets, not just one-offs like they do nowadays. Back in the days, they made 3, 5, 10, 15 points at one time, and they would use their previous points as patterns, I imagine. Or they would have maybe a tattoo of the point style on their arm or something, and they could compare. Whatever. I think they were working off of patterns of some sort and making these in sets when they were making, not one-offs. Okay? All right. Just so you know where I'm coming from. Why did you make two of them the same? You should have just go with the flow and do what the stone tells you. Yeah. No. But the archaeologists, they told me that, the size is dependent on material. Yeah, it is to a certain extent because you can't change physics. But you're working with sets. You're working with more than one projectile. In many cases, it's several. Not just 2 or 3, but 15 or more. So you've got to keep in mind what is the best size of point for the amount of points you want to make. The smaller the point, the more points you can make. It just makes sense, right? Physics. All right. Where am I? Here I am. I'm back. Okay, hold on. All right. I got to get my hair cut already. Yeah, getting fuzzy. Let's see. Let's see. Where am I? Okay, let's go to the end of the chat. Ask your questions now or forever hold your peace until next time. Next time is Monday, right? Monday during the auction is the next live stream. Yeah. Gives me the weekend to finish up all my stuff. I make an arrowhead and look online, and my art was already done. So it is what it is. He says, Patrick. I've had so many obsidian flakes going to work in the morning. What? Mm-hmm. Mike Mason says, my brother and I were napping by then, so we wanted to know about the rest of the journey. Okay, what did I miss? People talking about bows. Somebody knows a napper in town. You're lucky you've got another napper in town. Ed Minister says, I want to be the hypothetical napper Patrick is always talking about. It could be hilarious. I can just start making fun of you. What I can do is go onto your YouTube channel and go, oh, I saw somebody named Ed doing this, and I can make fun. Yeah. We got more likes than we got people watching. This is good. This is good. Ken says I haven't had a chance to hang out with the other napper in town here yet. He's super busy. I see. He's a very good napper though. Oh, cool. Does he do slabs and flake over grind and that kind of stuff? Most of the time, when with just my luck, if there's a napper close by, he does the slabs and flake over grind stuff. Yeah. That's been my experience with a lot of nappers that I've known that live fairly close. They do a lot of flake over grind stuff. Well, excuse me. I'm going to go to bed early. Yeah. I was up until like 3 a.m. last night. I could not sleep. I don't know what it is. So usually I get tired if I start writing, but it didn't work last night. Anyways, what do we got? I got to pick up some flakes from here, but I'll do that later. Yeah, I got lots of little Georgetown flakes, but they're kind of like crud flakes. They're very warped, curved. They don't have much surface area. But believe it or not, many Texas true arrow points made from Georgetown are quite small. Yeah. They look like they were made from debitage from previous generations of nappers. They just go to the site near their camp where previous nappers have been stacking all their debitage and just go and pick flakes out. That's what I think they probably ended up doing a lot of times, especially for these little teeny tiny points. Why go to the main quarry when it's all the debitage is available for you right there in the same area? See, that comes off easy. The chalky cortex, and I can make something out of that. It's a small piece, but oh well. Yeah. Okay, let's see. So if you have questions, I will answer them or try to answer them before the time is up. We got 10 minutes. Administrator asks, does anyone else ever watch a napper on stream and they keep not taking a flake that drives you bonkers? Happens to me a lot. I don't know. There's only a few. I don't go on and watch too many YouTube nappers these days. Let's see. I napped this earlier to get back into the swing of things. This will be in the auction. I wanted to do some deep notches, and this is the amoeba chert that Bill sent me. Some of it. I just took one of the good flakes out. One of the sweet flakes, as I call it. I broke the tip. Well, I broke the side of the tip early on, so I had to reduce everything. I lost about a quarter inch because I took a lot off the side. I don't know what to call it, though. It looks almost like a Gunther type. Yeah. Compared to the bifaces I just made, where did they go? Yeah. This is like a true arrow point size. I like it because the amoeba chert can be thinned down really well, and I don't have to worry about stacks or step fractures like I do with the Knife River Flint. The amoeba chert has less chance of step fracturing than the Knife River, in my experience. The Knife River, I've really got to make sure I've got plenty of meat in the biface before I run a big flake. If not, it'll step fracture somewhere. Yeah. And then to get the Knife River Flint really, really thin, it's going to have little bitty steps. I just can't get around it. Not me, anyway. I can't get around it. Amoeba chert. It's spelled ameoba. 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 Ken says, I need to find someone that can mail stone to Canada. It's not that hard to mail stone to Canada. Why isn't someone doing it? It just takes filling out the customs form, and I think a lot of times the seller doesn't know what to put in the material. What is it? I just put lapidary stone. Lapidary. Lapid. No, LAP. Yeah. ID. Yeah. ARY. Lapidary, which means it's hobby stone for working. And usually a lapidary stone implies that you're going to tumble it or something. But, you can tumble this stuff. Technically, it's tumbleable. I just put lapidary stone when I'm sending chunks. Ameoba says, yeah. Ken says, I've tried through many napping websites, and the websites don't accept Canada. Yeah, Canada has a bad reputation because I think back in the day, Canadians didn't understand their postal service. Yeah. I think they've simplified it and improved Canadian postal service over the past 10 years. But I remember the days when, early on, when I was trying to buy stuff off of eBay, they had a lot of problems with Canadian postal service. And not just the postal service, but the population of Canada wasn't really in tune with what their postal service was able to do. So there was always complaints. I think there's this is a holdover. Yeah, Flintknapping Supplies has no Canada option, only within US, for instance. Yeah. Yeah, I understand. It's just an added amount of labor cost to try to figure out how to send stuff. A lot of guys will just come down to the States on vacation, and then they'll pick up boxes of rocks that they'll have shipped to wherever they're going to be vacationing, whoever's house it is. I've done that a couple of times. I shipped to someone in the U.S. that they know, and the box just sits there for a couple of months or whatever until vacation time. They go pick it up. Then they bring it across the border themselves. Easy peasy that way, if you're willing to wait. Patrick Trousdale, what is a good agate slab to work in your experience? What type? Oh, agate slabs, the best type is, of course, Brazilian agate, but you need to heat treat that. It's best because it's colorful. But any kind of agate from the Southwest United States is usually pretty reliable. Yeah. Agates from Texas or the Southwest, I find are pretty reliable. Now, agates from other areas of the country, I haven't had too much experience with. And except for small pieces, they seem okay, but there are big agates in Texas and the Southwest. Indonesia has huge agates as well, and you can buy that kind of stuff from Indonesia, but I don't trust that stuff. Sometimes it requires extreme amounts of heat to get it to be nappable if you buy it from overseas. Let's see. New Day says, sorry, not good. I don't know what that means. Administrator says, I like that cow print looking agate from Montana. What is cow print? Mike Mason says, that might be why my guy is low on obsidian right now. Dang politics. Patrick says, so if I get slabs, I heat treat it? Yeah, usually agate needs heat treatment to nap well. You can nap it raw, but it's going to be torturous in most cases. Agates are one step down from Knife River Flint. High grade agates are similar. Like there's Texas agates that look very similar to this. There's also root beer chert, but there's also agates that are dark like this and have that deep brownish red color that naps similar to this. It's not that it doesn't nap as well because the Texas agates that look like this are harder and need to be heat treated, but you can nap them raw. They just won't nap as nice as this. There's one step below. There are other flints and cherts that nap better than Knife River. So this is not a 10. This is more like 7 or 8 on the scale of 1 to 10, with the agates being one notch below, like a 5 or 6. The Texas agates. And you heat the Texas agates, they jump up to about an 8. If you heat them and get lucky that that temperature range that you're experimenting with works, you can get them up to an 8 as far as that goes. A lot of people really like this Knife River stuff. I do like it, but it's mainly because of the feel. I don't get tired of napping it, although it can be a pain. But the feel of it, for some reason, autism, the tactile sensation of the stone helps. If it's a stone that feels really dry and crumbly and dusty and stuff, it just gets irritating, even though it may nap okay. As an example, not only do we got to work against stone, we got to work against our own little tactile aversions. Talking about autistic. Anyways. Let's see. It's safer for Americans coming in. I've been hearing about Canadians being turned away for memes on their phone. Brennan says, good night. Good night. Good night. It's time. It's already past 10, so I'm going to close up the live stream. But I'll wait a few more minutes. All right, everybody. I'm going to start saying goodbye. Yeah, no questions. I don't see no questions. So, yeah, thanks everybody for participating. It's good to see everybody. Everybody was in this live stream. Everybody who's anybody. I haven't seen Danny Collins in a while though. And where Keith Ricketts wasn't here. Right? Who else wasn't here? Anyways, everybody else is here. Yep. Good night, everybody. Take care. Thank you. Thank you. Next live stream is Monday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Martin Hill says tar, Pat. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you too, everybody. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.